Oh, I was going to say that looked perfect.
Yep.
Well, that'll work. The wind took it way high, but that'll actually work. Okay, we were shooting for that first branch that takes off to the left there, but it went high and the wind caught it, but it took it into a good place anyway. And now this is how we get the other end down. Verona tries to hook it with that pole, and she pulls it down. And what we'll do then is take the tape off the arrow. I've designed my taping on the arrows so that the end of the string's taped down on the arrow a little ways from the vanes. And then I have a small piece of tape up here at this end, so when you're pulling on it, this part breaks through, makes it so that when you're pulling the arrow, it can flip the back end of the arrow over branches easy. Okay, our goal is to use this 7/16 inch nylon rope for our guide ropes to pull the tops of our branches that we're cutting off the direction that we want them to fall. But it's kind of heavy to pull up with this little string that we used on the arrow. So what I do is I hook it to a small piece of nylon rope, tie a simple knot in it, like that, make sure it's strong enough, and then I'll pull it up with the string. Okay, we use this box to let the string set in easy before an arrow shot. That way when the arrow goes out, it can pull the string up with the fewest things like that in it, and no twigs or leaves, because that really messes up your shot. Anyway, now here I am pulling up this rope. Change your angle. And we got it back down. The big end of the big rope to this. Okay. Now we need a big rope, and okay, we've got our small rope right where we want it, except that it's coming back to us over the top of this other rope. Okay, and then she can just bring it back to me there, and we'll be under the rope. Use this rope to pull the heavy one up. Same thing, just tie a knot. We've got hundreds of feet of rope, so we don't worry too much about getting out on the ends. Main thing is we want it to be tight enough that it's going to pull up through and not catch on anything. Okay, one of our biggest challenges is fighting other limbs that are still in the tree. Verona tried to bring her end of the rope out and around that piece of branch. This one's fairly easy, but boy, if you get it tangled up in those little twigs, a little more, there you go, bring it right into me, and then I'll have a straight shot up the tree, which is my pulley.
It's caught down there.
Gosh. Keeping ropes straight and untangled from other ropes is one of our primary concerns. You need to take that pile and pull this end take the end that's on the top. You have to make a new pile now with that being on the bottom. Because if you make a pile of ropes, you can pull the final end that you drop onto it straight off the pile with very few chances of it tangling again. It's just important to try to keep all your piles separate from one another. Okay, and now that way I can just take this rope and just pretty easily draw it back up over the top of the tree. Now we have a straight, clean run of a rope right through Verona's hand, instead of pulling it back under logs and stuff. And even then, the friction on the tree up there is pretty good. Okay, now the trick is undoing knots. And the harder you've had to pull on the rope, the harder it is to undo the knots. But this big rope's pretty easy. The little one's a little harder. But what you have to do is get your handy knot undoer tool out, which is this canine tooth right here. And that really makes it easy. Okay, now what I want to do is lasso the top of the tree, so I'm going to make a loop around this rope, like that. Put an extra little hitch on it right here. Now that can slide right up there, and here it goes. I don't want to pull the tree this direction. Primarily I want to pull it to the north, where the tightrope is pulling it. But because the clothesline pulls right directly under that, I want it to start falling to the north, and then this rope is going to pull it a little bit to the east. And we'll have to put some tension on it to make sure that happens. Okay, this is the direction I want it to pull. However, there's nothing on this part of the yard to anchor to, so what I'm going to have to do, I'm making this loop, then I'm going to run another rope through it to the fence over that way and to a tree that's behind me this way. And it'll be kind of a bow shape, but it'll be pulling this rope the way I want it right here. My tension rope coming down to this knot. I'm going to flip that up through that little nook in the tree and bring that rope back in this direction. And that'll be 1/2 of our bow that's going to draw this to the east. Tension going to the southeast, but because that bark on that tree over there is so coarse, it's really hard to pull these through. This direction with that rope going to the top of the tree. So I've got half of my anchor off to the southwest. Now I just want to tie this off right here with that as tight as I can get it. Just use some of these little simple hitches. And now I can use this one to pull the other direction. Okay, now we're going to anchor it over towards the northeast, which is that bottom of that fence post right over there.
You dropped the white rope.
Yeah, no. Okay, now I'm just making a loop to go back to the, I should have had Ron just tie it off there, but I didn't think of it. And the reason that Ron is doing all the walking is I've got a bum knee. I think that's about where I want it. Now we're just going to add some weights so that it'll increase the tensions. To add tension to our ropes, there'll be about 40 pounds of water. That's 5 gallons of water in each bucket. And the way we get the buckets up there is when we run the ropes, we tie loops like this one right here that we'll be able to hang a bucket from. And the way we do that is just put a rope through there like that. I guess I'll just tie it off up here. Bucket's got about 2 gallons of water in it, so it's not too heavy. I'm able to draw it up though because most of the weight's on the rope. Instead of going all the way to the end of the rope, I just use the loop like it's the end of the rope. Okay, and then we'll just add water to those. That'll be 80 pounds pulling to the north, and then over here we'll have another bucket which will be 40 pounds pulling to the east, and hopefully the branch there will fall right through there, just this side of that shadow. Hit the clothesline pole, but didn't even hurt it, did it?
Hurt the tree?